Hey people, it's time for Liberal Buzz Show. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be talking about things that we've been talking about all year long because the media isn't covering it to my liking. So I have to be the media. So first of all, I got an award from Central City Democrats, of which I am now president. It's a Democratic club, and I'm determined to take over the Democrats. So I got an award for, I guess it's called the You Make a Difference Award. So we all make a difference, though, somehow. But I'm very happy and humbled to get it. And I accept it on the behalf of Axis of Love, who inspired me every day to give away cannabis. You know, cannabis is a way to, you shouldn't be charging a lot of money, especially for patients. You know, I don't know what happened to cannabis being patriotic, you know. I don't remember a good argument for cannabis being unpatriotic. There's none. It's the profiteers hate it, like Big Pharma and the petrochemicals. So I've got some things to share with you about that. And this is going to be our, let's check out Twitter for a second. I got some things going on Twitter. So it's, today our show is fighting the weed war with well-meaning progressives, because some progressive Democratic clubs, like the Harvey Milk Club, and the Democratic Party often goes along with them, got bought out. So we have to go to these club meetings, pay the dues, become a member, and, you know, let's take them, let's occupy them. You know, same with the Latino Democratic Club, let's occupy them too. Just occupy these clubs, because they're making decisions for us, and I don't know if you really if you don't speak up, you're not going to be able to participate in the decision-making process. There's also going to be some decision-making around the cannabis regulations for this Prop 64 garbage, which I'm boycotting the weed. I'm not buying any pot after the 1st of January in 2018. But so there's a way to send your comments. You have till June 13th, and it's on my Twitter feed, which is right here, Denise Dorey, right there. Denise Dorey. Follow me on Twitter. I get a lot of issues and things that I can't talk as much about on this show. There just isn't time. So the other thing I was going to talk about was the regulations that aren't really progressive at all. There's some stupid Prop 64 regulations to replace, but this is what they're trying to pull on us here. So you please be mad, because I'm mad. If you like weed, and if you don't like weed, those laws suck, because maybe your kid likes it, and you know, you want to see them going to jail for a plant for giving away. Let's see. I had something from Omar Figueroa too. Omar Figueroa is an attorney for the cannabis community, and here it is. Omar Figueroa said this bill, if it passes, would make it a public offense for passengers to use cannabis in vehicles. Passed the California State Senate unanimously and seems to have little organized opposition. So why? Why is no one screaming about this? I mean, I drive safer on cannabis a day. It's like a cup of coffee to me. If you smoke the sativa, it's very similar to coffee, except it doesn't make your heart pound. So unless you don't have a healthy heart, maybe not. But I can't make those claims. But just months now, he goes on to say, Omar Figueroa, that's attorney Omar Figueroa, just months after state voters legalized the recreational use of marijuana, the state Senate on Tuesday voted to prohibit its use in automobiles because of concerns over drugged driving, because they want to call it a drug. Well, I mean, indica, you're just going to want to pull over and go to sleep. That's what I would. If I smoked indica, I'd just be pulling over and going to sleep. So a bill by Senator Jerry Hill, he's a Democrat out of San Mateo, and San Mateo is not progressive. It's not. You know, They actually, in San Mateo, you know, the cops in San Mateo County wait by the freeway for people driving out of San Francisco on a Friday night. I know, because I was caught in that web. And if you're leaving San Francisco, there's this road where you can't make a U-turn. You're stuck on it for like about a half a mile, and the cops are right at the bottom. And they think that, oh, the people from the San Francisco club, let's go to arrest them. So that's San Mateo County. I fought a case there. It's not fun. I beat the case, but I had to fight it myself. So anyway. The Senator Jerry Hill of San Mateo, so he's going to be conservative, makes it an infraction. Well, he could have made it a felony if he was... I mean, there's different levels of stupid, right? Makes it an infraction for drivers and passengers to use marijuana in motor vehicles. What is it? I don't know if they're saying whether the vehicle's parked. I mean, that's the best place to smoke because it doesn't blow the flame out. Stiffer penalties already exist for motorists found to be driving while impaired by drugs, which cannabis is not a drug. So that's just about the stupidest thing I've heard. So here we go. Yeah. California, they legalized recreational use. Now, there's no such thing as recreational cannabis. I don't know what they're saying. In November, although the state does not plan to begin issuing licenses till January because, you know, it's really predatory. So, you know, I'll go into why in a minute. There's time, let's see, 12 minutes. Washington State is, they're trying to, you know, combine recreational with medical. That's what Governor Jerry Brown was saying he would wanted to do. So combine medical and recreational. We've got till June 12th, and you've got to let it be known that I don't even think Prop 64 is worth fixing. I really don't. Can you fix stupid? And so, but Oakland's doing a few things right. Oakland, when it comes to their permitting process, it's easier to get a permit. There's a cannabis town hall meeting, and it's going to be June 7th, 2017 in Oakland. So that's on my timeline too on Facebook, which is public. Just go to Denise Dorey on Facebook or Twitter. So Oakland has released its applications for permitting a legitimate cannabis industry and has launched the very first cannabis equity program. So the Supernova Women, now we featured them on our show before. The Supernova Women are women of color who don't like being arrested for cannabis and don't want anyone, you know, they don't believe in anyone going to jail for it either. So that's my value and moral compass is pretty much aligned with theirs. And they say that Prop 64 is racist, and I believed them a year ago, and they weren't wrong. These are the Supernova Women's Town Cannabis Workshop. So they're going to explain how to submit a permit application and provide insight to where the state is on its license, where the state is. Because the licensing program is pretty much in its infancy. You know, we haven't really made all the rules, but Oakland seems, I mean, they did some pretty bad things. For a while, Oakland only had 4 dispensaries, and you know, the license, you couldn't license anymore. They had a limit on, so it might be, the climate is always changing with us, you know, and it would be nice if more rich people would listen to us and just put money into policies which benefit everybody, because when it benefits everybody, it benefits everyone. It floats all the boats. So let's you know, and they instead of locking everybody, building more jails, let's, you know, have more gardens. Build gardens, not jails. Big gardens. I believe in everybody should have as much power. I'm just patriotic about cannabis, and I think we, you know, as much as you can grow is how much you can have, you know. Let's see, and so there's some facts about Prop 64 that they lied. They said Prop 64 would bring more tax revenue and fund schools, health care, and infrastructure, which actually no tax revenue will go to general fund under Prop 64. Like we said before, 80% goes to cops, 80% goes to punitive, rehabs. The other 20%. That's gonna. We're talking about the rehab industry, because rehab is an industrial complex as well. So, just want you to know that the rehab industry is. They say, oh, you can't get off drugs unless you come to us. We're talking about oxycodone, which I think, the pharmaceutical industry should have a burden for, a lot of burden. And for all this addiction on their drugs, there's more illegal stuff on the streets than legal. So why is that? And that stuff kills you. So anyway, they're making money. It's about this, the bottom line. See, none of the state, the tax revenue from recreational, it goes to the marijuana tax fund, which is an enormous slush fund. It's designated solely to financing the massive bureaucracy that Prop 64 is going to create. It's massive. I was reading the permit applications are just like, it would take you till you're 99 years old unless you have a whole crew of lawyers to help you through it. And even that, you better have $1 million just to get started. It's just hidden in all the fine print, and things that they don't say speak louder than things that they did say. So, low information. We had to, anyway, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. I've said enough about low information voters. I went on the Bernie Kratz page and I got 30 likes. Let's see, that's in there. Bernie Kratz, yeah, I told them about, you guys shouldn't have endorsed Prop 64. Bernie wasn't for it. Put it on their page, got 30 likes. So I think we're making some headway here. And the Hearty Milk Club, and I belong to them too. I belong to as many Democratic clubs as I can afford to join. And you just have to tell them and pass out. I'm going to, right now, after this is over, I'm going to go straight to the Milk Club party. They're going to, right now, they're having a party right after this at the Stud to appreciate LGBTQ and cannabis communities. So hop on over there if you get a chance, and let them know that jail for weed is not acceptable, folks. It just never was. It never should be. It's just, it's a greed, of course. Lizard brainstem, what is it? Can I eat it? And it's like our own community is cannibalizing us in a way, so. And then other people came in to cannibalize more, like, Sean Parker, the tech guy. So anyway, any other law, let's talk about the taxes some more. And they're going to be imposed, and the revenue is going to go, it shall not be considered part of the general fund. It doesn't help. And it creates a system, it's ripe for cronyism and corruption. Because, the boards are unelected, and Gavin Newsom, he's the biggest opportunist I've seen in a long time. And he's going to head up the Recreational Weed Bureau and oversee its massive treasury. Now, we had a weed bureau in San Francisco that Shona says has been put on hold. I've got the article here, Cannabis Department Proposed for SF. I think I reported on this in a past show. Well, that has been put on hold for unknown reasons. So anyway, back to this state corruption and cronyism control freaks. They're Gavin Newsom's gargoyles. And they're going to head up the Recreational Weed Bureau, and they get the power to see who decides who gets that money. And it's a stark contrast to what's happening in other states that have recreational cannabis, like schools, roads, things they need. I mean, have you driven to LA lately on Highway 101? Bump, 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 bump. I don't even like to drive in California much until they fix the roads. Oh, so it's a hot mess. Now, in Colorado, they build schools, but I don't know what, we have to replace this with MCLR. I'm encouraging folks to replace it with MCLR version 3. It's on my Twitter feed. Go ahead and read it. Let me know what you think. And Washington, so now they also said that patients would be exempt from taxes. Right now, actually, I think dispensaries do pay tax on cannabis sales. But now It's 9.79, almost $10 an ounce, and for 10% on a $400 ounce, which is not including the 15% excise tax, and then there's sales and use tax, which can be as high as 10%. And they gave local jurisdictions power to decide a lot of this stuff. They can be as predatory or as they want, but they can't be. In other words, but they can't. There's a limit on how generous they can be, because they don't really want people giving it away. Relief Dispensary informed me that they would get fined for giving away free cannabis, any amount. Yes, that's true. So I suspected it after reading Prop 64, and then a dispensary confirmed that it's already in effect. So that's a nightmare. And we'll see where that goes. I'm going to ask some more questions about that. Because not being able to give it to a patient that's sick, or just even passing a joint to somebody, that's insane. So the DEA, they conduct raids on the same people who comply with the rules. It's strange. They're complying with the compassionate use rules, but they're still getting raided in California. So California, we've been a police state for a long time. California is just a police state. It really is. And it's obvious because we have a lot of private prisons here. And so the private prison industry is doing well across. Have you ever driven across the country? There's jails everywhere. And I mean, Prop 64 might have been an okay law if you lived in Texas. They'd be, oh, yay, not go to jail for an ounce. But in California, we've already, eaten the fruit of knowledge and know that this law is stupid, but unfortunately people didn't read it until they see how bad it is. They will. And so your information won't be confidential either. So in case you have a cannabis card and you have to get it through a regular doctor, which usually they're clueless on how to prescribe cannabis. So good luck with that. You feel me? I don't even like going to doctors at all. They're not. Most of the time, for anything they have to figure out, they're not really that helpful for me. Like, say a tick bite, they don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of stuff. They don't know what to do about pain, except prescribe pain medication. So I don't really weren't really specific on what conditions are eligible for it. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. They don't really know. And so it's going to be more expensive than the so-called black market, or let's call it what it is, the budget market. better costs, and you don't have to pay for people going to jail to be policed more for cannabis, and that's just wrong. I'm not going to shut up until nobody's going to jail for cannabis ever again. And there's a lot more expensive. It's more expensive than, with all those taxes, $400 or $500. It's going to be off the chain. And so, because the Mendocino County, they were doing the right thing, and the DEA conducted raids on them anyway. So the text of the initiative doesn't promise that any of your medical information will be kept confidential, which is, that's pretty contradictory. And so the law enforcement and judicial agencies are the ones that anybody is concerned with about the regard to confidentiality of their medical cannabis use. Prop 64 won't protect the privacy. So I can get to a little bit about another minute. Section 56.10 of the Civil Code, B, a provider of health care, a healthcare service plan, or a contractor shall disclose medical information if the disclosure is compelled by any of the following. A, by a court order, and you're not protected through CPS.
Hi, Denise.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, the governor said he was going to amend Proposition 64. Do you know how he did that? I missed how he amended it.
Well, I already covered it on the first part of my show. It's on Facebook. I really don't have time to answer it now, but he amended it. There's a representative in San Mateo who wants to make more penalty infractions for driving, or not. They don't even say driving, just smoking cannabis in a car. So that's what I know about it so far. But Jerry Brown, we're going to have to cover that on the next show.
Okay. Well, they don't have no way of testing that.
Well, they have. There's a difference between metabolized and unmetabolized cannabis. Thanks, G. So anyway, I gotta take off now, and I'm glad you watched the show. Please tune in next time, June 15th.